Hello everyone, welcome to Concepts. This is your boy Mr. R. So we're gonna be talking Black excellence, excel, Black child, excel, African child. So when the ruins of Great Zimbabwe was discovered, someone who does not deserve a mention said that it couldn't have been black people who built it. It couldn't have been who? Black people. Because the structure is too sophisticated. The structure is what? Too sophisticated to be built by blacks. Like I said, I won't mention the name of the person. If you are really interested, you can just research. So what does this actually tell us? It tells us that for generations, other races don't believe that blacks can be excellent. That even when they find something like the ruins of a great Zimbabwe, which shows great architecture, great planning, great masonry, and stuff like that, they still don't believe that it was black people who did it. So this notion has been carried for generations. The notion has been held consciously and unconsciously. Held consciously and unconsciously. And this is the most dangerous, when you are not even aware or you're not even conscious that you hold this notion that nothing excellent can ever emerge from the black race, right? That's why you will hear people in the Kasi, or maybe, they would say that, like, you think you are better than us when you want the best for yourself, right? So they are holding this notion unconsciously. So they are saying that when something is better, when something is excellent, that is not us. That's exactly what they're saying. So when somebody is saying it out loud, people take offense. But this mentality has been dropped in us for generations and generations, to a point where black people were not authorized to read or study. In fact, Hitler was very, very disappointed that a black athlete broke all the records during his time in Germany, when the Germans were holding the Olympics, right? In fact, he was so disgusted that he didn't even want to shake the black man's hand because he too did not believe that black can be excellent. So for years and years, they keep us out of competing athletically. And once we do compete, what happens? We break the records and they fail to acknowledge it. They want to remove it from history. Luckily, at that time, we had such things as television, so nobody can go and rewrite that, right? So there was once a genius doctor, but he was black. And because he's black, all of his achievements went to who? Went to the white supervisor. And during this age, there was no television or something to keep as proof that history was not rewritten. So it looked like the white supervisor is the one who did what? Who had all the achievements. Why? Because no one believed that a black person can be excellent. Can be excellent. That's why they gave us the Bantu education, right? An education system that keeps us ignorant. Ignorant, but good for hard labor. Get them educated enough for them to be able to do the work, but not for them to be able to think out of the mentality that were given to them for generations and generations and generations. So a black person looks at another black person who's doing good and say, you think you are better than us. Right? So you are holding that mentality unconsciously, and the way you perceive yourself, the power of perception, right? The power of perception. Perception and the power of what? Of confession. So they make it so that you are the one who perceive yourself as not good enough. You are the one who confess yourself as not good enough. And if somebody makes it, he becomes a sellout. He must have some sort of snake that is giving that person money, right? Or must belong to some sort of cult that is enabling that person to be powerful. So what are they saying? They're saying it's either you sold your people out, it's either you have a snake, or there's some sort of black magic that you operate with, which what gives you excellence. So they are saying, black, you can never be excellent. Don't even think about it. It's not possible. That's what they're saying. To a point where people, black people, automatically what? They automatically confess it in their lives. They automatically perceive themselves as not good enough. I will tell you a story about a man from the Bahamas. On this one, I'm not giving out names, eh? It will be good for you. You'll go and do your research. So this young guy grows up in the Bahamas. In a farm environment where there are no black people. I mean, where there are no white people, sorry. So it's an environment of no whites, right? At the period when he grows up, there's still segregation. To say black cannot mix with white. Cannot mix with what? With white people. Because there's a belief that white people are inherently superior than blacks, and black people can never do anything great, right? So you can't mix the two. So one day this guy goes to town. He goes to town and he gets a shock of his life. He sees white people for the first time, right? You grow up in a farm, you don't know, you are not exposed to anything else. Goes to town, and the town has a lot of white people, but because of segregation, they were not supposed to mix, right? He didn't grow up knowing that I'm supposed to be segregated from white people, or I'm inherently inferior to white people. So he goes and mixes with them. Causes a lot of issues, and yeah. Story fast forward, he goes to America. He goes where? He goes to the States. From the Bahamas, take a plane to the United States. And this guy was the first black person, the first black man to do movies. Before then, black people would write music, perform music, and then give it to white people so that they can perform it on TV. Black people couldn't perform things on TV or any form of platform that shows that these people are talented, these people are excellent, right? But this man from the Bahamas becomes a huge Hollywood star. A big shock. Everybody's excited because now they can see a black man on screen. And he saw himself as a person. I want you to see the power of perception. He saw himself as a person first, not as a black person first. So he saw himself as a person first. This power has enabled him to what? Not to keep himself in a cage. So all the cage that was caging the people who are living in America, who thought a black man cannot be a superstar on the films or in Hollywood, he didn't see himself as any of it. So the perception that a black person cannot be excellent, he didn't carry it. Largely because of how he grew up, where he grew up, right? So go Google his name if you don't know him. But he ended up doing huge things in the industry. And yeah, a lot of people complained when he had a movie, and in this film, he takes a white person as a friend. A lot of the black community was what? Was offended. So what am I trying to say? I'm saying that if you carry that notion that the man who we spoke about when he expressed his opinion about the Great Zimbabwe, saying that black people couldn't have built what they found there. If you held that perception, then you will not push yourself to do anything. But excellency has nothing to do with race. Excellency has nothing to do with race. Nothing to do with race. It has been proven over and over again. People thinking black people cannot be medical doctors, and somebody comes and surpass every white person there, but then he never gets to take the credit. Hitler didn't think, or the white people of the time didn't think, that a black athlete can compete with white people and win. It's not possible. You get what I'm saying? And so on and so forth. Somebody doesn't believe that Great Zimbabwe can be built by black masonry and black architects, and so on and so forth. But this notion is held largely because people don't really know the history of the world, or they have the history written by white people. And everybody who writes his own story, he will always be the hero in his own story, right? So, what am I saying? I'm saying that this mentality has consumed us. This notion that blacks can't be much has consumed us. This mentality or notion. But I promise you, the theory has always been proven wrong. Like I said, the black athlete during Hitler's time, the black man from the Bahamas who was the biggest star in Hollywood and stuff like that. But like I said, most of the things were done by black people, but nobody wanted to show black people being excellent. And so a lot of black people did what? So a lot of black people ended up believing, not just black people, a lot of people generally ended up believing that a black person cannot really do much. A black person cannot be excellent. And we still have this in the current day. That's why you see black people fighting other black people not to go up. So a black person sees another black rising. They try and run to stop, deter, or inhibit that progress. Or another black person, let's look at Django. Django, right? The movie Django, where Samuel L. Jackson does not believe that a black man can ride a horse and a black man can walk hand in hand with a white person and be equals and share ideas, not as a servant, not as a slave, but as a friend, right? And then this makes him what? It makes him upset towards the black man. It makes him, become violent towards him or aggressive towards Django, right? That is what Samuel L. Jackson is what a lot of black people are, right? So they get to be the house Negro or nigger. I know that a lot of people are offended by the word Negro, but Negro comes from Latin. Negro, nigger, and in Latin it means black. That's it. So if you're calling me black, why am I offended? Why am I offended that you call me Negro, but I'm not offended? That is a debate for another day. I understand that, people said the word nigger or Negro to keep black people down, but it only means nigger. It means Negro. It means black. Negro, nigger means black in Latin, right? So I made a video about podcast and chill versus podcast and chill versus Peño, the black pen, right? You see McG. First of all, I'm a chiller. I love the show. The show is dope. The show is great. And I love the dynamic of it, that a person like Sol Penduka is so free to express his mentality, his thinking and what, because this allows them to do that. I'm a big fan. That is why this concerns me a lot, right? Because you see McG fighting Peño because Peño has great equipment, to say, why does he have a show that has that great equipment? That means he's a sellout. You see the build-up of what I was trying to say. So a black person or a black man can't have that type of equipment because we expect you to shoot with your smartphone, right? Which is not even that great with camera quality, video quality is low. We don't expect you to have great guests and stuff like that. We don't expect you to have a great show. Right? We don't expect you to have massive numbers. There's no way you can't be excellent. There must be something behind you that is pushing this excellence. And that means that you believe that black is inferior. You believe that black is what? It's inferior. But like I said, it's not about black or white or brown or whatever. Black people are only in their mentality because they don't know their history. Once you get to know the actual black history, you will see that black people are pioneers. They've been pioneers for years. The education, engineering, ingenuity. But we lost that. And I think we covered how black people were teaching their children in the previous one, right? So it was apprenticeship, meaning that somebody had to be available and you learn on the job, learning on the job, until your skills, your thinking is awesome and you are able to pass that skill to the next generation. That skill, that wisdom to the next generation by being close to them. But then the removal of that person from his home, the removal of the teacher from his home, forced to go and serve other people, made us lose that. And we don't know who we are. I don't want to go back to that because I feel like there's a lot to talk about here, all right? I mean, we can all be excellent together. It doesn't have to be just one. Podcast and Chill is excellent. It's black excellence. It's black excellence. Not a very serious show, gets people to laugh, gets people to forget about their issues and stuff like that. We need that. Black excellence. This is black excellence. The Peñol show is black excellence. A much more serious show gets to talk about the consciousness of what is happening in the country. It is still black excellence. But now we make it as though because this is excellent, this cannot be excellent. Right? Which is not proper. We can all be excellent together. I'll give you an example. Curtis Jackson. Oh, I'm dropping a name now. Known as 50 Cent, right? 50 Cent. So 50 Cent was very artistic. People who love rap music and understand and appreciate the artistry behind it would have loved 50 Cent before he dropped Get Rich or Die Trying, right? Get Rich or Die Trying. and get rich or die trying. They would have appreciated that guy because the way he delivers his metaphors, his level of thinking is beautiful, is dope. And then he gets to drop in the club, right? He was excellent artistically. But he gets to realize, if I'm too artistic, I'm not attracting the masses. Which means not attracting the masses, which means what? Which means I don't make a lot of money. I don't make a lot of money. I am not pushing sales. Sales is down because it's not a lot of people who appreciate pure art, true art. You get what I'm saying? Not even a lot of people understand it. So he switches and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna be excellent financially. Then he drops in the club. Or that whole album. A lot of people who loved him before were irritated to say, now he's a sellout or something, becoming a sellout. But he was now more of a business person than he is an artist. A lot of artists are starving because they don't get to understand the business side of art, right? So they're too focused on being pure and what. And if you don't mind starving, I mean, we would love you to be pure. Those people who appreciate art will appreciate you, right? If you don't mind to be starving, then that's wonderful. But if you want to understand the masses making more money, Immortal Technique said that if you go platinum, it has nothing to do with luck. With luck, it just means that 1 million people are stupid. It just means that 1 million people are stupid. I mean, Immortal Technique is a very angry guy, and I mean, this is a very strong word to use. I wouldn't say stupid, but it gets to show you that a lot of people are ignorant towards purity, towards true art or something that is raw. That is why newspapers or the media, you will find that gossip sells more than like a really great column or something that is chasing truth. You will find that gossip, the fact that a celebrity slept with someone, is what is trending. People are talking about it. But once you try to educate people about the state of their government or the state of the country at the time, not a lot of people pay attention. So there is not a lot of appreciation to real journalism in that sense, right? So Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, gets to make this evaluation to say, man, I want to make money. If I make money, I'm able to expand. And if people, he even has that line to say, if people hate, let them hate. But I am gonna be watching the money going up. So he had a bigger vision to say, okay, I'm gonna compromise my level of skill to make more money. So that he can expand to, we have a show called Power because of him. So he was excellent artistically. Maybe he still is. And he decided to go excellent business-wise. Business is about the masses, right? I may be the most powerful guy when it comes to a message or my ability to rhyme and be creative. I can be the most creative person, but not be appreciated. And this means that you're stuck here. Some people still want to stay raw, they want to stay pure, and that is wonderful. But we get to see 50 Cent being excellent both ways, right? So as a black child, you can be excellent in anything that you want to do. Problem is having the notion that we spoke about, and it gets you to be limited. You get to limit yourself to say, hey, I can't own such a huge corporation. I can't have these things because for so many years my forefathers were a slave, right? We need to change that thinking. Change the thinking. And you need to stop hating. You need to stop hating when another black person makes it. Take your notebook and go learn. If you find that this person is not really that excellent, it is the things that we spoke about, like being in a cult or having a snake and what. You can always move on and learn from another person. Not every successful black person is a sellout or owns a snake. Right? The World Cup is here, and an African team hasn't played the finals yet, or hasn't taken the World Cup. Centuries after centuries. Why? Because we have such a mentality that we cannot be excellent, and then we go and take European football and try to make it our own. This is the biggest problem. Like, our style is not that good, So we go and take what? We go and take from other. I'm not saying don't learn from another person. I'm saying trust in your style, trust in your technique enough to take you far that you can work on it and sharpen it. It's generations and generations. The reason why Brazil during Pele's time took the World Cup is because they were trying to play, they were trying in the final, trying to play European football. They did that, and they were, during halftime it was, they looked miserable, right? But Pele remembered that I am a Brazilian. I'm gonna take my samba, my style of football, and go for it because that is my biggest weapon. And everything changed from there. Everything else is history. Today we appreciate Brazilian football, but if Pele didn't have the guts enough to follow what he believed in, his style of doing things, then we wouldn't be talking about Brazilian football. We wouldn't be, right? So it is okay to be Brazilian and excellent. It's also okay to be German and excellent. It's also okay to be African and excellent, right? Let's just say African. But we tend to look down on our strong points, not even sharpen them, because of the notion that what we are is not good enough. Imagine if Leonardo da Vinci, an Italian man, believed that his style is not good enough because the teacher couldn't understand him, right? They couldn't understand him and he failed because of it. But he trusted in his thinking enough, in his ingenuity enough, that he did a lot of things, engineering, art, you name it. But you have to trust the style, like Pele trusted the style, the Brazilian style. This is who we are, right? We are not looking down on another type of football, but we are saying that we are not going to compromise our football to play your football because you seem to be getting ahead, right? We will learn from you, take what is good, and incorporate it in our own style. But a lot of Africans lost their own because for so many centuries they've been taught that Eurocentric is the only excellence. They're excellent, but they're not the only excellence. And once we learn who we are and trust in our own style of doing things while learning from others, I'm not saying don't learn from people, then we will have African excellence and Eurocentric excellence and American excellence and Chinese excellence, right? I mean, for centuries, the Americans made us to believe that, actually not for centuries, but for a long time, they made us to believe that democracy is the only way. But we see China being excellent, Chinese excellence. We have seen them doing it without democracy, right? For so long, there was war on the communists. I know people say it's not communism what's happening in China, but Chinese are having their own style and integrating other styles. That is why it is not pure this. And it took them from, if you look at China in the early 90s and what it is now, huge difference, right? 20 years, a huge transformation. And it's not because they suddenly got oil or some natural reserve that the world or the market demands. No, because they decided to go back to being Chinese. This is who we are. And we will take what works for us and we will grow. So that's all I wanted to talk about, that you can be Chinese and excellent. You can be European and excellent. You can be Asian and excellent. American and excellent, right? Black is excellent. You have to start having that perception and that confession. When you look at the story of Burkina Faso, a lot of them stayed in poverty, right, for a very long time, until Thomas Sankara changed their perception, their confession, and the way they carried their tasks. But what happened? Another black person who didn't believe that he can be excellent with Thomas Sankara decided to ruin that. And Burkina Faso's transformation was destroyed. Right? All right, so I believe it's long enough. Yeah, you are excellent, black child. Don't ever look down on who you are, your abilities, what you can do. You have so much to offer the world, and don't believe the history that was given to you that was not true. Research, question, and do some more research. You will run into the true history of the black person, and you will see that black has been excellent. Mansa Musa, Thomas Sankara, Nelson Mandela, and so many other people who have been excellent throughout the history. Throughout history. Way excellent sometimes more than any other parts of the world. But we have to rediscover that, right? Thank you so much.